Welcome to the Real Man Talk Show. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you're already on YouTube, and share your channel if you're on Facebook. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to the Real Man Talk Show. I'm Leo the Side Tower. I'm here with my co-host Sean Davis and my special guest co-hosts Monica Riley and Dr. Prevost. How are you all doing today?
Fantastic.
Ladies, I'll let you go.
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Go ahead, Dr. Prevost.
I'm doing fine. How y'all doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good.
Yes. Y'all, it's cold down here in Fort
It's cold here too.
Well, I'm
you know, us little Texas folk, we ain't used to this.
I thought it was cold until I was in Oklahoma City, and thank God that I was able to get out of there.
Yes.
No joke. So coming back to Texas, I was so happy because it's cold, but it's not cold than what it is up there. We got power.
Yes, Lord, we got power, and it's a little warm, but it's cold to us because you know, black folks, we don't like being out that cold.
No.
Well, it's 34 degrees and freezing rain right now where I'm at.
Oh.
No.
Say it again, bro.
Everybody still got power in Tulsa?
I do, and let it go out. I got heaters and know how to cook on an open fire, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I'm old school. Barbecue at your house.
Let it go out.
I know in Oklahoma City it's more than, last I checked, was 235,000 people without power right now.
Oh,
really?
Man. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's only around 1,500 to 1,600 here around the Tulsa area, but we didn't get nowhere near as bad as Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
I didn't realize how bad it was. I had gotten waking up 2 days ago, and we thought the tree fell on the house. Thank God the tree didn't fall on the house, but the tree had fell next door and broke the car window and broke the house window. And as I was coming to the airport this morning, because I didn't leave the house at all yesterday, it was trees down all over the neighborhood.
So what was it, a ice storm or something, or what? What was it?
It's an ice storm, and it's pretty abnormal for them to get ice storms this time of the year. So it's going to be a long winter.
That's January, February for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that is pretty bizarre.
Well, if you listen to the almanac, which I try to adhere to, they're predicting this winter is going to be very long, cold, and wet. So we're going to have a major winter coming up for us.
Really?
That's for y'all, right? Not us.
Well, it blankets the United States, but it's mainly for those parts of the country that deal with heavy snow and ice.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, goodness. So that is y'all, not us.
Yeah. Listen, I can deal with the snow, but I would tell you when I was down there, a few months ago for that fishing trip. Yeah, I about went back. I about stayed in the house when I walked outside.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's some other kind of heat down there. That's motherland heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's get to the nitty gritty. This is our last Wednesday on doing Politic Wednesday. And I want to thank Monica for helping us put this together. Me and Sean decided we wanted to do something for the community in regards to voting. And I've been very adamant and very voicious that I give a damn about either one of the people that's running for president. So I didn't want to discourage the people from that, but I wanted to talk more about local politics. So with the help of Monica Riley, we was able to bring more people on here to talk about local politics that really plays a major factor with us. Not that the presidential don't play a factor, but I truly believe that local politics is more where it's at. At least you can talk to those folks. At least you can dictate what's going on in your area versus way up there. You probably would never speak to the president, talk to the president, talk to the House majority, the Speaker of the House. But you can talk to the people such as the tax assessor, your state representatives, your local senators. So we want to focus more on local politics and get people more engaged in voting. And later on towards the show, we go talk to Dr. Prevost in regards to how she got her candidate to win up there in Dallas. And pretty much they spent a lot of money against her candidate, and she still won with very nominal name recognition. So I'm going to be so very happy to hear her talk about that. But moving forward, let's talk about what's going on. This is the last week of early voting. And if you've been paying attention here in Texas, we have been setting lots of records.
Yes.
And, thankfully, Dr. Prevost's been on the show several times. Monica been on the show, and we've been talking about early voting. And I'm so happy that people are actually taking advantage of early voting versus waiting to the last minute and standing in lines to vote. How do y'all feel about that now that people are coming out and taking advantage of this awesome tool that's been in place for years?
Now, you know folk like to procrastinate.
Long overdue. Long overdue. I don't know why people like to stand in long lines. I don't understand that concept.
But you know, Dr. Prevost, what I was told by some people that came and voted on on voting day, election day, like the last major elections like we had during the midterms in 2018, so many of them told me that they like to vote on election day. For them, it's historical, it's traditional, and they like their vote to really make the difference for their candidate on election day. They said they don't even mind waiting in the long lines because that's what they've been doing for years. Now, I personally, I wouldn't recommend anybody doing that this go around, this cycle, because on the first day of early voting here in Fort Bend and even in Harris County, y'all may have experienced that, too, that people waited 6 to 8 hours in line on the very first day. Now, granted, we ran into some technical difficulties, but can you imagine waiting in line for 6 to 8 hours on election day, and you're thinking you're going to take your lunch break and run up there to the voting site and vote? That's not happening. And not to mention, what if we have the same kind of weather that we're having today, that we're all experiencing today? What if we catch some of that on Tuesday? That could be devastating to some people's votes.
I agree.
You raise a valid point, Monica, because we do got a hurricane that's coming that's going to impact some of those states. And
so let me pose kind of a two-part question, maybe a statement and a question. Okay, so I've seen several Republicans state that they're going to wait till election day to show up and vote because they're just letting the Democrats get it out the way, and they're going to show up in mass on election day. Do you think that is a ploy that would work? And then, Monica, you said something. What if those Republicans show up and are not able to vote because of extenuating circumstances? Do you think this is going to have an effect on the actual ballot count?
Absolutely. You show up on election day and it's storming and raining and cold and windy. You think those people are going to stay out there for 6 to 8 hours? I think not. The average person is not. And not to mention the fact that we have COVID, pneumonia, flu season. Now you put all those different factors together, and I'm just being real frank. Most people are not going to put their health in jeopardy to cast a vote, and that's why it's the crazy. I've heard that same thing too, Sean. I think it's ludicrous. I've heard it for years, and I know they do it, and that's why it may not work to their advantage this year. If they were true smart Republicans or even true smart Democrats, you would get your tail to the polls while you still got
Get
2
it
more
on
days.
out there.
Don't get it out there, because here's the thing: even if you do it Friday, the numbers are not going to come out until the next day anyway. So why is it such a competition between platforms when it's really boils down to just get your tail to the polls and go vote? Stop playing games with your vote, because that's what they do. They're playing games with their vote,
Yeah.
and God don't like ugly now.
Right. You know, I've been hearing in Dallas something different. So, like, I've been working closely with the Dallas County Election Board, and what they're saying is they're not showing up to their polling You know how they have poll clerks and judges, and depending on the precinct you are, some are Republican and some are not. So what they've been saying, they need extra help because the Republicans are not even showing up to their assignments. So that can cause a delay. Of course, if you don't have a poll worker there and you trying to vote, who's checking your ID? I mean, they're behind. So I don't know. Here is something different. They're not even showing up in their own precincts to do their jobs. So I don't know what's going on here. It's something very strange. So I don't know.
Well, so let me ask you: do you think the Republicans are staging some type of game or some that will cause concern for how the vote is really cast? And you know, Trump has been on this tirade about voter fraud. Do you think this is part of that little scheme to throw a monkey in the wrench for the voting? And if he does lose, he can use this as part of what he uses in his protest.
It could be because also a lot of people, they also have a backlog of mail-in ballots here. So they're asking people, I mean, they're begging people any time of day you can come in to come help and enter some of these ballots in the computer. So my question is that we have such a backlog because we're telling everybody, do your mail-in voting. Well, you understand, those are going to go to the Dallas County Election Board. And but if you don't have enough people to actually go through all those ballots, it's a lot of stuff going on that I don't even think that people were prepared for as far as this mail-in ballot situation, you know, and voting situation. Like we need way more people than we have time, you know, that we have available for this kind of election. I don't know.
This is definitely a unique time that will definitely go down in history as one that will be truly remembered for who's in office, what he represents, the difficulties of the time, and then the virus and all this stuff going on. You know, this is something we'll be talking about for years to come.
Oh, absolutely. I have a question I want to ask y'all. Do you think if the Republicans are waiting to come out on election day, do you think it's going to really make a significant impact to reelect Trump and the Republican-based candidates that we have out there? Do you think they have enough votes to really do that?
I don't think for the presidential race. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Prevost, Dr. Prevost.
No, I don't know. You talking about actually on election day? If they just show up on election day, is that what you're saying? I don't know. You can go ahead. I don't have a comment on that.
Okay. I don't think for the presidential race it's going to make a bit of difference, but I do believe on some of the local elections it will make a big difference. One of the ones that I just have to make sure everybody in South Carolina, if you know anybody in South Carolina, reach out to them and tell them to get that Lindsey Graham out of office. The brother, I can't believe remember his last name, Harrison, I believe. Jamie Harrison.
I put some money on his campaign. Yes, I did.
Okay. please. That man is showing up and stepping up. So let's take the time to encourage anybody in South Carolina to pay into this man's campaign and get that Lindsey Graham out of office. So on the state level, yeah, it could make a difference, but presidential wise, no. I think we just need to get this man on out of there.
Okay. Well, one of the viewers, Marvin, stated they don't have the base if people vote. The problem is people think, why should I vote when they feel it doesn't matter?
Can I address that?
It really does.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, Marvin, I understand what you're saying, But here's the thing. That paradigm has shifted. Blacks for the longest and Latinos felt for a long time our voices and our vote didn't count. But we are now seeing the impact that we have. And I have a slight disagreement with that. Our vote does count, and we're realizing that now, and we're putting that to practice now. Now, on the other hand, Republicans are the baby boomers and older people. And a lot of them want to vote but can't vote, or scared to vote because of the virus and other factors, cold weather and stuff like that. So I think that it's shifted. We now see the importance of having our say in what politics brings to our communities and our country. So yeah, our votes count, and I see it will make a difference now.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this. I'm going to be on the other side. I definitely see his point, because me personally, I think our vote matters when we put the right people in office. I think that for real, most of the people that are voting have a very low political IQ. That's just what it is. And if you ever wonder why your community looks the same year after year after year, it's because of who are you electing. And I'm telling you, most people don't know who they're electing. They're looking at the name, they're looking at their face, but they're not digging deeper. And I really do feel like I understand why people say that. If you really can help somebody get in that you know personally, that's a different situation. But I know a lot of people in my district that are maybe running unopposed, or they're not doing anything anyway. I mean, for real, like I can vote for them, but if they're running unopposed and they're not doing anything for the community and they're just holding a seat, I don't see how that's going to make a difference. So the only thing I can say on that is that if you feel like the people in your community are not doing what you need to do, then you need to find somebody in that community and put your support behind that person and try to get that person elected. That's how you can get something going as far as improvement.
Okay.
And Dr. Prevost, I do totally agree with you on that. For too long, we have voted by who makes us feel good and not by what they are going to do for us. And then they get in those offices and they literally sit there for years and never do nothing for us. So yeah, in that aspect, I can see why we feel like our vote doesn't count, because we're casting a ballot, but we're not seeing any reciprocation from that candidate. But I also feel like at this point in time, the people that are stepping up to run for office are a new breed, and they really want to be helpful to the community.
So let's transition a little bit, because we got two of the candidates that's actually running for offices down here in Fort Bend County. And the first guest that's going to come up, I'm going to let Monica actually bring her up and talk a little bit about her. And we're going to ask her some questions in regards to what's going to make her the person that the voters should want to vote for. To those that's listening, once again, we're talking about Fort Bend politics. We're talking about politics overall, but the two candidates that we're bringing on is from the Fort Bend County, which plays a factor to your county, because you can learn a little bit about these positions and what they can do once they get in position. So Monica, I'm going to let you go ahead and bring up the first candidate that's running for office.
Awesome. Well, the first young lady we're going to bring up is Lynn Clouser. For those who have been in Fort Bend County, that name is not a stranger to Fort Bend. Clouser has been in decades ingrained in our minds and our souls for all the public service that the family has committed. And Lynn Clouser is running for Missouri City Council at large position number 2. And that is an essential position because it covers the entire Missouri City jurisdiction and where people can vote in. So she's not a district. She's not a one position. She actually covers that entire Missouri City area. And one of the things that Lynn she's been a public servant pretty much her whole life as a child, growing up in a public servant household. And now that she's an adult herself, she is running to seek that office to do a greater service to the community in a more direct way. She has a great character, lots of integrity, just a wonderful person overall, and very knowledgeable and experienced in this area. So without further ado, please welcome Miss Lynn Clouser.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I am in true campaign mode. I just left the polls. The polls were open till 9. And so I dashed over here. I'm like literally just walking in and I'm thawing out. So forgive my appearance, but I'm a working candidate. So this is what I look like I do.
But thank you so much
for taking
the polls to come join the Real Man Talk Show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Shucks, I wish I looked that good leaving the polls.
But you know what? This is the part that I enjoy. I enjoy talking to the voters. I love it. I did this for so many years with my father as he ran. He's been in office for 28 years. And so I worked the polls and talked to voters so many years. And then, now I'm in the campaign seat, and it's so different, but I'm having fun on the campaign trail. And that's what's important.
Oh, yes.
Good.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
I know I have a question, but I'm not going to hog the flow. So
Go pose your question.
Okay. Well, I have the flow. And obviously, Lynn it's no secret that I adore her. I respect her, and she's amazing. And so, but we also want to be very strategic in asking questions that are going to help those voters who are still undecided on who they're going to select in this particular Missouri City at large position number 2 race. There's a lot of divisiveness. There's a lot of things going on in Missouri City right now, dealing with the voting, as well as some of the things that have been on the agenda. As a candidate, what is one of the biggest challenges that you see that Missouri City Council is facing that you can actually make the difference when you get into office?
Well, right now, we're not unified. Our current council, typically on most issues, there's a divide, a 4-3 split. And so, that's a problem. The occurrence of it and the frequency of it happening, it has never been this frequent until the last 2 years. And so, we've got to get on the same page. We've got to get more unified. We have to get back to doing the will of the people. And that is one of the reasons why I am running, is because, there shouldn't be any outside forces that are influencing anybody on our city council. This should be a position where we listen to the residents, the people of the city, and act on that and do what they want, what we want. And that's what it should be. So there's a lot of division there. And that's what I want to do. It's simple. When you are hired or elected by the people, they're electing you to be their voice. They're electing you to listen to them and make decisions based on what they want. And it sounds very simple, but, there are people that are making it hard. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I love my city. I love Missouri City. I was raised here. I'm raising my children here, actively involved, always been actively involved. And as I've been on the campaign trail, one of the things that I love doing so much, Monica, is, talking to residents. Most of this, what we should be doing is listening. I love listening. What is it that you want? What is it that you have been wanting in a city council person? What is it that you want for your community, for your neighborhood? And so I've been taking notes. I have a notebook of 4 months worth of notes. And I think that's one thing that this position is missing, is a council person at large that is listening and then doing the will of the people.
Excellent. Ooh, that was a big question with a big response. So I'm going to yield to the flow and let my co-host go for it.
Okay.
Thank you. Brother Sean, you have a question for Ms. Lynn.
Ms. Lynn, Sean here. How you doing this evening?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. Quick question. Since you have been in this arena with your father, seeing how he deals with people, other politicians, does that give you somewhat of an advantage in dealing with life as far as dealing with politics? And at the same time, because you are in this field, does it make you a little more sensitive to understanding what you need to do to be successful in the job?
Well, Sean, let me say this. I never thought I would ever enter the world of politics. Now, everybody else has been like, oh, it's about time. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? So let me say that I never, ever thought I would be in this arena. But since I am, you know, sometimes, you know, you don't call politics, politics calls you. And sometimes that is for a certain reason. And, you know, my reason, I shocked my father when I told him I was running for city council. And my reason came from a place of purpose. I was in a city council meeting where there was a standing room only room of residents that did not want council to make a certain decision. And when I tell you it was a diverse room of residents, and they got up and they spoke, please don't do this, please don't do this. And they did it anyway. It was the 4-3 split. And that was my why. When I walked out of there, I was hurt, I was moved. And people kept saying, somebody's got to do something. Somebody's got to do something. Well, Sean, when I was a young girl, my father was the HOA president of my neighborhood. And with that, my girlfriends and my father would put out a newsletter every month. And my girlfriends and I would go door to door and put this newsletter on the doors of residents. And my dad would give us Slurpees. We thought that was a big deal, you know. We got Slurpees afterwards, you know. And so at the top of this newsletter, he had a quote that said, I kept asking, why won't someone do something? Then I realized I am someone. When I left out of that city council meeting, that rang in my head. I've always remembered that as a little girl. So why can't that be me? And so that was my purpose. And so when this opportunity came about and I said, I'm going to run for city council at large position 2, I didn't realize how much I had soaked in over the 28 years. And so, you know, my dad said he never wanted me to do it. He said, because politics is real mean and dirty. And I said, Dad, I have thick skin. So it has prepared me. Yes, Sean, some of the stuff that's coming my way, you know, I'm fighting it off because not knowing, I didn't realize how much I had been looking at my father and the example that he set. And I'm just, you know, knocking it off and saying, look, we're going to keep the thing. And that is, I am running so that I can bring some transparency, some honesty, and the will of the people, doing the will of the people back to this position. And that's the way it should be. So not knowing I have been prepared for the last 20 years. So there's a lot that I will have to learn. But one thing I will say, transparency, honesty, actively listening, those are things that are innate. Those are not things that are taught. When I get in, there are things that I'm going to have to learn, but I'm willing to do that. And I'm ready to do it. And I'm ready to do it November 3rd when I'm elected.
Well done. Well done. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Prevost, do you have a question for Ms. Lynn?
Yes, I have a question. So I'm going to put you in a hot seat. Because really,
please warm me up.
And I'm not.
I think she'll take a little hot seat right about now.
I'm not. I know, huh? And I don't live in Missouri City. I actually live in Dallas. But I'm asking you this because I'm very, very critical of politicians. I'm very critical of why one might decide to run for office. So I'm gonna ask. I ask politicians these questions. Anybody I'll vote for, if I can DM them on Facebook or Instagram, I'm going to ask them, especially if they're a Black person running for political office, I'm going to ask these questions because I feel like this is something worthy of a response. So I saw a little bit, I reviewed your platform. I went to your page. I see that you are a graduate of HBCU Hampton. And I graduated from Xavier in New Orleans. Okay. So on your platform, though, I don't see I see a lot of information as far as general speaking, as far as things that you support for Missouri City, but I don't see anything in particular relating to race, Black, obviously anything about policing or anything like that. So my question is always to a Black candidate is this. If you are a Black person running for office and you relate to the Black experience, might have gone to HBCU, might be have Black children, might be married to a Black man or something like that. I need you to be having an interest in the Black community for me to vote for you, or else I might as well vote for a white person, an Indian person, or an Asian person. That's how I truly feel. Because one time I was watching an interview on the Breakfast Club, and it was Rush Limbaugh actually was being interviewed. Like, why would Rush Limbaugh come on a Breakfast Club? And he was talking to Charlemagne about problems that we thought we had in America. And of course, a lot of Republicans always say, we don't have any racism in America. That's one of their key talking points. And he asked Charlemagne point blank. He said, well, I'm gonna ask you a question. You had a president in office for 8 years, and you're telling me that all these problems that we have, mass incarceration, blah, 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 are still issues. And you have a lot of cities where you have legislators who are Black that are running, they have been elected for a long time in different positions. Why do you, as the Black community, continue to elect people that do nothing for your people? And Charlemagne didn't have an answer for him, really. And I thought about that for a long time. I said to myself, why do we elect people who want to say they're the first Black this and the first Black that, but when they get in office, they continue to ignore anything dealing with our community. So I'm gonna ask you, on your platform, do you have anything that you would say that would address any issues that citizens of America, the Black citizens of Missouri City would be able to benefit from?
So I have on my platform and pardon me, my doorbell is ringing. My son is coming home. So if you keep hearing him ring the doorbell, I'm sorry. As a elected official, as a city council official, I have made it very clear that I want to be the candidate for all, regardless of age, race, socioeconomic status, gender, or party affiliation. I am a Black woman. Okay. I mean, that's very, very clear. I'm raising a Black son. My son is on the autism spectrum. So not only am I raising a Black son, I have a son that has mental challenges that is, I hurt for him and others that are like him. When we talk about public safety, I want to make sure that our public safety, our police and fire have what they need to protect and serve. One thing that I do want to do when I decided to run for this office, I wanted to meet with different department heads, and I went to meet with our chief of police, Mike Beerson. And we didn't accomplish everything that we wanted to talk about. Hang on, just let me tell my son to come in. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. That's real time.
Hey, you're a real-time mom.
Yeah. And so, but what the company that I work for right now is a nonprofit. And what we do is we provide training, which is called CIT training. And that's crisis intervention training for law enforcement agents. And, what we do is we provide that type of training so that the officers, when they stop our Black boys, when they stop people who have mental challenges, they know exactly what's going on. So the first thing they're not doing is shooting. What I would like to do, and I've talked to somebody else about this on another program, is institute some types of diversity training as well. But again, Dr. Prevost, that is talking to the community and finding out what we need, talking to our officials and having those relationships with them. I want to help small businesses. That's a big passion of mine. I have several business owners that are friends in Missouri City. I want to make sure that our Black businesses have what they need so that they can sustain and grow. I have 2 friends that had to close their businesses during this COVID time. What do they need? What do they need to sustain and grow? So, and I'm big on children, entrepreneurship. I've already talked to Monica about when I get on council, making sure that our Black children know the power of entrepreneurship and instituting programs in place. I know we have one, but making sure that all children have that opportunity to know you can be a business owner. And I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, Dr. Prevost. I believe in using resources. A lot of what we have, a lot of what we need, we already have in our community. We have HCC, we have workforce solutions right in Missouri City. We have people like Monica Riley. We have people like you all that want to reach out and help our community grow. And so, I don't have all the answers, but I tell you what, I want to make sure that our people have what we need. And I want to be the candidate for everybody, because all of Missouri City matters and everybody in Missouri City matters. And let me also say this. I want to make sure that 2234, which, I grew up in Missouri City, and I don't know if you all are familiar with 2234, but 2234 Texas Parkway, it was an area that was jumping when Monica and I were younger. And now, that's sort of the across the track side of town where it's been neglected. And so what I want to make sure, as I'm talking to residents, they want healthy food options. If you go to another side, you can find the salads and things like that. But if you go on that side, you've got fast food. That's a problem. That is a problem. And so for me, one of my platforms, as you can see on, if you looked on there, is revitalizing Texas Parkway, not just aesthetically, but making sure that the residents have what they need, the things that they want over there that they need. And so those are the things that I want to do. And that comes with investors, having relationships with investors, getting some of those things over there that have not been there in the past. And you said something earlier, Dr. Prevost. Hold on, this is popping up. You said something earlier about politicians, things not changing because the same people are in office. Well, we've had the same city council person in this position for 6 years, and not a lot has changed. What I do know that has been very consistent is that people are reaching out saying, we've reached out to you. We have not heard from you. We don't see you until election time. And that's not the way to go. That is not what to do. And I know that's a long answer for what you're asking, but those are the things I'm passionate about. You have to be out there. You have to know what your constituents want so that you can know what you need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that answer, Ms. Clouser. I'm going to yield my question to the audience that has a question for you. Can you see it on your screen?
My son is at my door and
Yes.
You're muted, Lynn.
My son is at my door and the person that's dropping him off, I think they don't think I'm here. So I'm sorry, this is bad timing, but this is being mama.
No, go right ahead. Go ahead.
Real man talk.
You're fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn.
At this time, we're going to take a 4-minute commercial break, and then we're going to be back up with Carmen Turner, who is running for tax assessor here in Fort Bend County. And we will address the question that one of the audience proposed. And matter of fact, we'll talk about that. I may let Carmen answer that question. But we'll be back in about 4 minutes.
Welcome to Houston's Notary, the fastest and most efficient mobile notary service. Houston's Notary pride itself on following up with their customers and making them feel at ease. Houston's Notary has the finest notaries that provides many services such as loan closings, fingerprints, cash outs, affidavits, wills, trust, power of attorneys, employment verification, documents for immigration, and legal documents. Wow! So many services that all you have to do is call. Toll free 1-844-292-5562 or 713-956-6485 or visit houstonsnotary.com. Let us be your notary.
Welcome back to the Real Men Talk Show. I'm Leo Hightower with the Real Men Talk Show with my co-host Sean Davis and special guest Monica Riley and Dr. Prevost. And today is our last day of the month that we will be talking about politics. We dedicated the whole entire month of Politic Wednesday to educate the community regarding.
We can't see you, Mr. Hightower. There you go.
Hear me, but couldn't see me. Okay. But we dedicated this entire month so people can be more engaged and more informed about the voting process. I want to focus more, once again, on local politics. So because of that, we have a lot of our local candidates that's running for office coming on the Real Men Talk Show. Our next guest is running for tax assessor, and I'm going to let Monica introduce and bring her up. Go ahead, Monica.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Leotis. Well, our next and final candidate for the evening and for the season that we're going to have on this show, she's a dynamic woman. I remember when I first met her, the first thing she said, "Oh, I'm going to win this nomination, Monica." She was so confident about it. She's a local business owner, been in business for herself for many, many years. And so she's no stranger to, how the system works. And we want to definitely welcome our next possible tax assessor for Fort Bend County, Miss Carmen Turner.
Hey, Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
Uh-oh.
Turn your mute off so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We got
Absolutely.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good, good. Yourself?
How you doing?
Ready to get the selection over with, but it's nice seeing all you out here today.
You look very warm and cozy.
I'm trying to get warm around here. It's been a long day for me. I've been on the campaign trail since 6 o'clock this morning, and I'm glad y'all did have this tonight because of course the polls closed at 9, and I was there till like 7:30, so I make sure I got here on time. But I'm here.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I wanted to ask you, Ms. Carmen, this is Leotis from the Real Men Talk. Tell a little people about what the tax assessor do. And what's your role for as a tax assessor? And once you get in office, if you get elected, what will make you so different than a current tax assessor that's in the position right now?
Okay. The tax assessor's office is the office that collects your vehicle title fees. We also do residential and commercial property. We do the school taxes, all commercial property. I'm responsible for that. So one time, somewhere down the line, I'm going to have to meet one of y'all somewhere down the line. Either you're trying to collect taxes on your home, or you're trying to collect taxes on your business, or something to that effect. Or you trying to register your car or your boat. That's who I am. That's the person to take care of that.
Okay. And let me ask you, what would make you more different than the person that's currently in that seat?
The person in the seat right now was appointed, and I feel like for me, with me being in the business for over 30 years, 15 years I did real estate, residential, commercial real estate, and that's important. You need somebody in the office who knows the background of real estate. What I found when I was doing real estate is a lot of people do not file their home exemption. They do not file for their veterans exemption. Senior citizens do not file for their exemptions. And those are the type of things that need to be taken care of when we get in office. So people are always complaining about how high their taxes are, but they don't know what to do in order to get those taxes down. So the first thing that I will do when I get in office within the first 100 days that I'm in office is set up a program to where we can make it a lot simpler or a lot easier for people to be able to save money on their taxes. That's the only thing people really want to know. How can I save money on my home taxes? How can I save money on my business taxes? And I think what it is the people in the office right now, they're just doing a job. They're not concerned about what the community wants and what the community needs. And the needs are to make these taxes a lot lower than what they are. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to be able to go in out right away and be a miracle worker, but that's the first thing I'm worried about, the community.
So let me ask you this, Ms. Carmen. With us having Hurricane Harvey a couple years ago caused major devastation to people's properties, as well as Fort Bend is constantly growing.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you want to try to decrease property taxes. How can we decrease property taxes with the community growing, as well as the devastation that's taking place with natural disasters?
Well, that right there is going to be something that we're going to have to get together as a team. And I think that's where one thing that we need to stop doing, we all have to come together. I'm going to have to get together with these different mayors, these different companies, and everybody, me personally, the tax office, and see where we can get tax breaks at. It's not going to be anything that I can just walk in the door right away and cut the taxes. That's not going to happen. That's why I'm going to have to work with the things that I have at hand, which will be the homeowners exemption, disputing your taxes. Those are the type of things I'm going to work on right away. And then after that, I'm going to work on trying to find ways to get these taxes lower. The first thing when I get in office, I'm going to have to deal with COVID. COVID is the first thing that I'm going to have to deal with, because you have to understand right now we're going through COVID. When COVID ends in January, we're going to find a lot of people who are going to be kicked out their houses and a lot of evictions and foreclosures. And I'm going to be the person that has to deal with that. That's the first thing I'm going to have to do. So what I want to do is put in place a program or some programs where we can figure out how to save these people houses, how to teach people how to buy homes, how to buy houses, and stuff like that. Those are some of the things that we're trying to put in place.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. I greatly appreciate it. Dr. Prevost, I'm going to go to you. Do you have any questions for Carmen?
Yes. Hi, Carmen. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good. So I don't live in Missouri City, but I did have to research exactly what qualifies someone to become a tax assessor, because actually where I live in Dallas, we have actually had the same tax assessor for 30 years. I actually looked it up because he's been a tax. I just voted a week ago, and he is still running unopposed, and he's a Democrat. So what I was talking to my husband about is what makes a person a good tax assessor. Why is this guy in the same office for 30 years and running unopposed? So I looked at your website, and I was looking at your background, and I see that you have had your own business at State Farm for 30 something years. And then I tried to see why this guy has been in office so long. So I guess what I'm confused is that he has all these different certifications like CTA, PCC, CTDP, CSTA, and he has a bachelor's. He has a bachelor's degree. So do you not need any type of certifications to become a tax assessor? What exactly is the qualification that makes somebody able to run for a tax assessor?
Well, you need the experience and the background in real estate. I have 15 years of real estate background. If you noticed, I've had to go to the tax office many days to dispute and fight for taxes for houses, people that I put in homes. And after the first year, they couldn't afford the taxes because the taxes went up. You need people that's sitting in the office here in Houston. I mean, here in Fort Bend County, tax lady that was in the office has been there since 2002, and it had never changed. And the problem we have with that is, we, like y'all said earlier, we get in seats and we just sit there and we're not concerned about what the public needs are. When I decided to run for office, I went to a town hall meeting. I went to several town hall meetings, and every town hall meeting I went to, they were talking about the storms that came through and the improvements that hadn't been done on their sidewalks and their porches and stuff like that. And we have people in Fort Bend County that's been in their houses for 30 years, 15 years, seniors. And they can't go outside to get their mail, something as simple as that. They're paying taxes that are too high, where they haven't took the time to file their tax exemption. You need people in office who's going to care about the people. It's one thing about it. Yes, you do have to have all those certifications you're talking about. Those are classes that we take along the way in order to be in office. It's okay to take a class. It's okay to pass a class. It's okay to know all of that. But if you're not using it for the public and the people, it does us no good. So you need people who are going to care about the people who are in an office. And I'm not your typical politician. I'm in here because there's a need for somebody to be in the office who cares about the public and the people.
Okay. My second question is, I was looking at your Republican competitor, opponent. Yes. So I was looking at his background. So it looked like he was a realtor too. I'm actually a realtor too. So so I didn't even know that that's something that would make me maybe be interested in a tax assessor. But anyway, I saw that he was a realtor too. He did a lot of he did finance for automobile company or something like that. So and I think he's the current tax assessor now. I believe he is. So my question is that, okay, so the tax assessor can decrease property taxes? Is that, I'm just confused at how much authority does a tax assessor have, or is it just teaching people how to fight or protest the taxes in a better way to actually get results?
We can't reduce the taxes. We teach people how to make payment arrangements. We collect the taxes for residential and commercial properties, for your car taxes. I mean, your car registration. That's what we do. But my opponent, we both have the same background. We're both in the same field. I'm assuming he's a great guy. I met him once, and that's about it. But I think we all have the same background, as you said, the real estate background.
Okay. All right. That's the only question I have.
Thank you, Carmen. Brother Sean.
I'm going to defer on this one and let Miss Monica roll.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Monica.
Oh, okay. Well, my question is pretty traditional because I just like to know the specifics. What challenges do you know that the current tax assessor office is faced with? I know we have the high taxes, so I don't want to talk about that because that's obvious. But what are some of the other really, big challenges that the tax assessor office is faced with that you feel that you'll be a better fit for that particular role and help the taxpayers?
Well, the first thing we have to do is make the office people friendly. So you'll be able to, everybody is up to technology now. We need to make it to where they can go online and be able to get things done online. We also need, what I'm going to put in place is classes that will be taught every quarter to where people can come in and be able to learn how to get their tax exemptions and different things on their houses, things they might need in their houses. The other thing is I absolutely hate our customer service. Our customer service is a phone system where you got to push a button and wait on somebody to answer the phone. I personally would like to go back to the old days where somebody answered their phone, 1, and 2, get back with you in 72 hours to help you with your problem. Those are the first things that we're going to have to do when I get in my office.
Okay.
In my office.
I like that because I know firsthand, because I do live in Fort Bend County, that the customer service is not really on par, and the technology is, to me, very old fashioned
It's
type of
outdated.
thing.
Mhm.
Yes, and I think it needs to be updated, and having that customer service training, how people should be able to interact, with the current. Because honestly, and I don't like to try to throw this, but people don't realize when you work for a public entity that pays the taxes or paying your salary, technically everybody that walks through the door is your boss. And
Exactly.
there should be a certain type of courtesy that you really extend to each person that comes through the door, because at any given moment, that could be a huge issue. And because you would be an elected official, that could have a backlash on you staying in office, or not, if
Yeah.
people are not happy with the service.
Yeah, Monica, I've been seeing you out here for the last year and a half. And of course, you know that I'm hands-on with the people, and I'm going to continue being hands-on with the people. And what I don't want is I don't want anybody working in my office or being in the office with me and don't have the same attitude and personality I have. And I care about what the people needs. And I want my people that work for me to have the same thing, care about the customers. It's so many times that we get in office and a person is sitting on the other side of their desk and you don't care about what their needs are. And then you treat them like, it's an 8 to 5 job. It's not an 8 to 5 job, because if she's not happy, I'm not going to be happy, because at the end of the day, if you treat her mean or treat her bad, it's a reflection on me and how you work.
Right.
I've been servicing the community for a number of years, for over 30 years. I heard earlier we were talking about what do we do for our people. This has nothing to do with taxes, but I've been an entrepreneur for years. Last year, before I started running for office, I did reentry, where I put 100 Black men in truck driving school. I have driven trucks. Everything I do with all my heart, and I give it 110%. And that's what I want to do in this tax office. I want to give it 110%. I want to make sure our community is taken care of. I deal with the senior citizens and the veterans in our neighborhood right now. A lot of them, which you may see all the time right now, are the people that's out there campaigning for me. And I appreciate that, because they're making phone calls and they're trying to make sure I get in this office. I will be the first Black in that office, but it's not about Black. It's not about black and white. It's about a person coming in there doing the right thing. So it's not about color. I want to go in there and make sure everybody in that office is taken care of. I don't care what color you are. I want to make sure my concerns is making sure you get what you need when you come in there.
Awesome. I like the fact that you stressed the fact that you are qualified and that you're ready to take on this role, and you've already actually prepared a plan of action of what your task items are going to be and prioritize them. I think it's just a bonus to kind of add to what you were talking about earlier, Dr. Prevost, is when we elect Black people in the office, we should not be electing based on their color, but on their qualifications and their connection to the community. And I think that's one of the advantages that we have with Carmen, is she is qualified, she is connected to the community, and it's just a bonus that she is a Black woman.
I agree.
Did I drop the mic or what? I mean,
it's pretty good, Monica.
No, well said.
Let me tell you, I really appreciate you guys asking me to be on tonight. But there's one other thing, if you don't mind me saying. I know people always say don't just vote because of the color of the skin. You're right. You shouldn't vote because of the color of the skin. You should vote because that person is qualified. And for the last year and a half that I've been out here campaigning, I've met a lot of great people out here, and they're working hard. I mean, we have our own little small coalition, which Monica knows pretty much all the people in my coalition. And we work every day. We all come from different surroundings. We all work together to make sure this gets done. I'm really proud that every last person, which Monica knows already, this year, I started something out here in Fort Bend County. I was one of the first, and I don't mind saying I was one of the first to start the food drive out here.
Right.
We fed over 20,000 people less than a year. And after that, people started coming on doing what I'm doing. It's not about me. And when you take yourself out the equation, and make it about the people. And that was something that my grandmother taught me a long time ago. Make it about the people and the people needs. That's when it matters. It was 6 of us that was on the campaign trail, and that really pushed them through the door. We wasn't feeding them food and getting them food because we were trying to get votes. This is a program that I had going on the north side for years now. And what I did is I took it from the north side and I brought it to Fort Bend County. And it's something that we're going to continue doing, which we made a promise with each other to do. So from me to you guys, I'm asking, right now today, Carmen Turner is going to win her race one way or another, because I have 9 angels that's looking over me. But I got a whole bunch of people on that ballot with me that works very hard. So I'm asking you to talk to everybody out here. This is not a campaign pitch. This is the truth. Start at the top and go all the way to the bottom. Because right now, the situation we in with this COVID, I've seen a lot of people suffering. And the people that came got food from me. If you had an opportunity to see them, one lady was living in her car, had cancer, living in her car. You see that when you're out there on the campaign trail. I go to 4 different precincts, and Monica knows, she's been to a couple of them with me, and we feed 3,000 people at one time. And it's not about just feeding the people, it's about taking care of the people. So when you start voting, start at the top and do not stop until you get to the bottom. Because what choice do you have right now? We have a man in office who don't even care about Black Lives Matter. Think about it. Don't even care about Black Lives Matter. The other day I was at the polls out there at Smart Financial, and I was talking to a Hispanic lady, and then I'm gonna get off of here. And I asked her about voting all the way down the ballot, and she was pushing her babies inside of the polls to vote. And she told me no, she didn't want my card because it was a Democrat card. And I looked at her and I thought, my God, we got 542 kids that are locked up and don't know where their parents are because of our president. And we don't get more people out here who cares about the people, we're in trouble. I'm up in age. I got my degree late in life. I decided to run for politics late in life, but I've always served the people. And that's what we need out here, people that's going to serve the people.
All righty.
So thank you guys for inviting me out here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carmen, and good luck on the campaign trail, and looking forward to working with you in the near future. And to Lynn also, thank you, Lynn, for coming on. Both of y'all, good luck. And thank you for all that you do for the community.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Y'all have a nice evening.
Likewise.
Thanks, Carmen.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Interesting.
Wow.
And just so we have it on record, just put it right, he doesn't care about Black Lives Matter, but the fact is, hell, he don't care about half his own people that vote for him. So, it is what it is.
So he's an equal opportunist, don't care.
Yeah, he don't care. Half them, and let me say this, about 60% of the people that voted for him would not be able to walk up to that Mar-a-Lago golf course or whatever it is and walk in that front door. He's not going to rent them an apartment in Times Square or Park Place or whatever it is in New York that he owns all that stuff. So yeah, he don't care about Black lives. Hell, he don't care about half the people that voted for him. So what you expect? A narcissist to the 10th degree.
Right. And that's one reason, once again, that's why we're doing local politics.
Right.
Local politics. With that being said, let's go to the audience, because they proposed some actual amazing questions. And I'm going to have Dr. Prevost, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you actually take this question by Demond. Can you see it?
Let me see. I don't see it. Oh, Demond? Nope, I don't see it.
Okay, I guess y'all don't see it on y'all screen. Well, he asked.
Oh, yes, if our people understood, is that the one?
I can see it.
Right.
If our people understood law, civics, all of the constitutions, business, federal law, state law, contract law, they would vote for the correct people instead of professional confidence men, and I don't see the rest. But
you cut off right there.
Yeah, definitely. We don't understand politics, like, for real. Like, that's the number one. I get mad when people say just vote. That, like, if you want to make me mad, just tell me that. That just makes me so mad, because, like I said, I mean, just voting is not enough. Who are you voting for? I mean, like, for real, that's the most, to me, I'm insulted when people tell me just vote. Because you're just vote. What does that mean? Just vote. Just vote for anybody? I mean, no. So I agree.
Monica, what you think?
I mean, I'm somewhat with Dr. Prevost, but maybe just a little bit. I think it's important that you do vote. I mean, if you don't know who to vote for, you do need to just still go vote. At least get in the practice of starting a tradition in your life to go vote. And I would hope that people would be educated when they go to the polls. If you don't know who to vote for, there's candidates at the polls that will hand you their information, and you have a few minutes to look that up, and hopefully you'll make the best educated decision that you possibly can. But I think we just need to have a more global push over a period of time over the next election cycle. We need to start educating our voters on how to be educated. From the top to the bottom, like Carmen talked about. It is so important that voters really get connected to the issues and to the candidates so that you can, when you go vote, you can make the right decision and it can count for something good. Hopefully it lines up with your values. But if you don't know, honestly, it's like a crapshoot. You're going there blind and you're just picking random people, and God help us if you pick the wrong person and that your one vote made the difference for that bad person to get into office or that bad person to stay in office.
I agree. Brother Sean, you care to take this next question?
He said, actually counts. Also, why do politicians not inform we the people that their vote only really counts on the state and local levels? I somewhat agree. Yes, it does count more on the state and local levels, but our vote counts. I can see why he's saying it doesn't count on the national level because of the Electoral College and that BS with Trump and Hillary Clinton. But that's why we as a people should demand a change, that be abolished, and we set up a new form of elections, because that didn't work for us. She won the popular vote, but he still won the Electoral College, which put him in office. So again, us as a people, we need to demand a change as to how America is run. It's been run this way for generations because there's only been a certain set of people in place that benefited from it. Now everybody needs to stand up and demand a change. And addressing the first half of that question, where, okay, we as blacks, we in our families do not discuss politics. It's taboo. So as those white families are sitting around the dinner table discussing politics and what the candidates stand for and what kind of benefits they'll reap off of those particular candidates, those are conversations that we as blacks need to start having. And we need to understand that being very aware of who we put in office plays a big part in what happens to us down the line. Exactly.
I agree with you on that, Brother Sean. And the statement that Nikhil Lewis proposed was the Democratic Party has promised to help black folks get out of the ditch in every election. But for some reason, the tow truck has continued to pass us by time and time again.
What an analogy.
But Nikhil,
regardless of what Nikhil has said, is this year probably the only year I've been very bipartisan. Every year I've pretty much been dedicated to vote Democrat. Until I decided to start doing more research and realize some of these Republicans do have some nice agendas. And then you look at some of these people that we have been sitting in office and you look at what they have done, a lot of them haven't been doing anything, just been sitting in office. So I've been taking more of a bipartisan approach, and I agree. We've been pretty much coerced and almost feared into just voting Democrat versus just looking at the agenda and looking what people stand for. So that's my biggest thing when it comes to just voting Democrat. No, I believe in Democratic Party. I like, and believe it or not, most black people are really Republicans.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother conversation. But I do agree with you, Sean, and we do need to start having these conversations more. We don't really talk about politics, and once again, this is the reason why we had the show this month, to educate people on politics. In regards to just the tax assessor, the city council, you'd be surprised how many people don't realize what these positions stand for, and they go there and they all vote probably for the president and don't care about the other positions that's really affecting them locally. That's why we gotta stay engaged and get involved. With that being said, Dr. Prevost, you got something you want to say in regards to the comment Brother Lewis made?
Yeah, I mean, just this. I don't even live in Missouri City, but if I'm ever going to talk to a politician, I got to Google you. I got to look at your website. I got to see what you're talking about. I got to see your education. And that's what I'm trying to show people. Like, if you had these people on just before you came on, I just did a quick Google search. You know, I got comments now that I've seen both candidates, and you know, and I can compare them to with some background. That's how you should be on almost every candidate on your ballot. You should have taken the time and said, okay, this is the person that I'm thinking about voting for. How does they stack up to their opponent? Why can't we do that? It didn't take no time for me to do that. And I looked at both of their platforms. And that's what we need to do. We need to stop thinking, okay, this is a black person, this is this person, this is, what do they stand for? We need to take the time, and then we'll see better people in office. I promise you.
Exactly. Because y'all know everybody that look like us, they're not really doing for us in a lot of cases. And I think it's an injustice, you know, when we are marching and we're saying Black Lives Matter, and that's only when a Black life has been lost unjustly. But what about Black Lives Matter, us being here and making an impact while we have the position of authority as an elected official to really make the difference for Black lives, like Black businesses, as Lynn mentioned. You know, it's an atrocity to your own, you know, ethnicity, your own race, when we are asking people to vote for us because we look like them. But when we get into office, are we really representing our own people?
And I'll just make this quick statement. I agree with Nikhil. Only difference I would say is he said they were sending a tow truck to get us out the ditch when it was hell. Them the ones that put us in the ditch.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Why you gotta be petty, Sean?
Hey, I'm being for real. You know, they done cut the tires and then cut the brake lines and put us in the ditch and said they'll be back for us, long as you help us out with this vote. But hell, they ain't done nothing for us.
Hey,
that's true.
Well, that's no different from Trump saying, "Hey, if y'all vote for me, y'all will get that stimulus check on November 4th." I don't know, money talk, y'all. I'm just saying.
And I will say, I agree with you. And May, I want to say, hey, May, hello. I see you watching. Yeah, money talks, and sometimes, man, you got to look at yourself.
Voters not the solution. Emotional votes. Ooh, that's a good statement. William Ferguson.
That is
correct. And I think Dr. Prevost, her and I talked about this earlier this year. We're quick to vote off emotions, and even with this presidential election going on, everything is off emotions. Look at logical, look at facts, look at stats. Like Dr. Prevost stated, you can go to that page and pull up what they're standing for. And I thought you asked some amazing questions to the candidates that was on here. The good thing about the Real Man Talk Show is this show is not going nowhere, so the content is on here. So you can hold these people accountable once they get in office. It's like, hey, this is what you said you was willing to do. This is what October 28, 2020. So
that's right.
You ain't did nothing. What's going on?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I like that statement. Was that William? Yes, William Ferguson stated educated voters are the solution. Emotional voters are a distraction. That's huge. And for those of y'all that don't know, William Ferguson is actually a candidate himself. He's running for Sugar Land City Council, which is also an at-large position out there. And William, I know William personally, and I tell you, this man is a man for the community, and he believes in supporting good people. And it's just phenomenal at the work that he does in the community. So thank you, William, for, you know, adding that value in that comment, because you're absolutely right. Our local elections, you know, have a greater impact, but people do need to make sure that they're educated when they go to the polls. Because we talked about this earlier, Leotis, and I talked about this with a pastor friend of mine today, and he said the same thing. He said, as Black people, we were raised and talked about, and this goes to what you were saying, Sean, we didn't talk about politics, but we did talk about party. We were told Black people vote for Democrats because they're for the poor people. And it's sad that they were classified as the poor people. And we're told that the Republicans are for the rich white people. And this was talking to a Black Republican pastor friend of mine. And we had such great dialogue about that being an issue. And we both agreed, as we talk about on The Real Men Talk Show, that we have got to get to a place where party affiliation is not the issue, but being an educated voter and people voting based on the values of a candidate that support yours versus what they look like and what party affiliation. Because at the end of the day, if you're voting for a city council or a mayor position and whatever party they are, do you really care if the police officer that shows up to your house when your house is getting broken into is Republican or Democrat? I know I don't.
Right.
I want them to just show up on time. And I think we need to start looking at the values and the strength of these good candidates and stop looking at what they look like and stop looking at what party they're affiliated with. The world has trained us that we have to choose a party. And I'm just going to go bold and say we need to get rid of the parties. That will help us to start looking at candidates for their experience, for their role, for who they can actually be in the community, And I just think it's just unfair that we look at candidates and say, oh, that's a Black female, or that's a white guy, or I'm going to vote for that one because that's a Latino person. That's not fair. That's not fair, because that Black gentleman, I mean, I'm just using it as a statement. That Black gentleman could be a racist. It just hasn't been uncovered yet. Whereas the white woman, that may be someone who has the same biblical values as mine. It may be a nice person, but because they don't have as much money to run ads and things like that versus this other gentleman, I'm going to go with the person that looks like me versus the person who actually lines up with my values. And that's why it goes back to what you said, Dr. Prevost, and we talk about it every single week. We need to be educated. We need to take time out and start focusing on who stands with our issues. And it doesn't matter what they look like, where they live, or what party they're affiliated with. Because when you get to the general election, you have to be able to vote for whoever is going to represent you, who you can pick up the phone and call, who's going to answer your emails, who's going to show up to your HOA meetings, who's going to fight for, pet lives and Black lives and Asian life, who's going to fight for those issues that really stand close to your values and treat you fairly.
Good point. And with that being said, go ahead, Sean, before I transition to this next segment.
Just a quick little thing. I remember growing up with my grandfather. He told me several times, as a Black man, if you don't vote Democrat, you're not a real Black man.
Wow.
So it was never you vote Democrat.
That's so funny.
Because
That's
of this.
funny.
It's
but I heard the
vote
same thing
Democrat
about not
because of
making
that.
it.
Yeah, well, that was my grandfather.
My grandfather was a Republican. I used to ask him when I was little. I was like, Papa, you vote for Democrats? I was a little girl. He says, oh no, I'm Republican. I remember him telling me that, and I was looking at him like, for real? And he was like, yeah. He says, I always make more money when a Republican in office. And I just remember that. I was like, okay, and let me know you do your own thing. You got to worry about what everybody else do.
Interesting.
Thank you, William.
Well, with that being said, we're going to transition to this next segment because we running out of time, but I wanted to talk to Dr. Prevost in regards to what Monica stated in regards to money. A lot of good people want to run for office, and some do run for office, but don't have the political backing, and sometimes they don't have the name recognition. And with that being said, Dr. Prevost was able to help one of her candidates get in position to take office, and the person had nominal name recognition, and the opponent outspent them by more than $40,000. So with that being said, I want to ask Dr. Prevost, how was that putting that person in position, and what were some of the strategies that y'all employed to get her in that position?
Okay, so yeah, I will support that candidate that's not even in my district. She was a House rep, and I'm not even in her district. But just like I asked the candidates before, I look for candidates, especially candidates that look like me, that really have the heart of going in office and doing something for our community, right? So she was a civil rights attorney, and she was outspent 3 to 1. I think she might have raised maybe 60,000. Her opponent raised probably a 400,000.
Oh
She
my
was the
gosh.
person. She was the Democratic favorite. So she had all the big wigs. If you look at her Ballotpedia profile, you can see all kind of PACs, petroleum people. I mean, she had big money behind her campaign. And the candidate I supported, she just, she just had small donors. I mean, her donor list was very small. Most people gave $25, $50. But what I learned a lot about her campaign is that when the Democratic Party has their favorite, their person that is the typical, just traditional, do nothing type person, they put money into those people. And if you're a progressive candidate who really wants change, you are really the underdog. Like, we really learned this the hard way. These people were very aggressive. She had to get restraining orders from this lady. She was coming to her home. She was trying to sabotage her, do things violently to her. It was a real eye-opening experience. That's what I can say. But what this candidate did, the one that I supported, she won the souls of the people. She knocked on every door. She went to every neighborhood. When I tell you, she talked to everybody that would listen. If you had a question for her, or if you wanted to meet with her, she would meet with you. I mean, she went above and beyond. I hosted a fundraiser at my home. We came over for dinner. I invited people to my house to introduce it to her. Most people hadn't even been or don't even live in her district, but she is somebody who, and we had very long conversations, me and her, because the idea of me and a Black politician is this, and me and her both agree on this. If you're not in office, if you're a Black person and you're not in office to at least do something for your people, why are you there? We don't really need, we can't take any more L's right now. Okay. The wealth gap is widening. We're not getting any help from anyone. If we got people in office right now and they're not doing anything for us, we're going to suffer. Everybody's passing us up. So, me and her had a lot of heart conversations about this. So that's why I'm so serious about this, as far as where's your heart at?
Yeah.
Her heart was in the right place. And that's why she won. How you going to beat somebody who has $400,000 and you only have $60,000 unless your heart is not in the right place? That wasn't nothing but God.
Wow.
Yes.
And she won by 100 votes. 100.
Hey.
100. Okay. So what we have to do is people, is that if you find somebody who has the heart, who's not doing it for the fame, the force, this person was doing it for the fame. Okay. And mind you, this was a seat that was vacated. And because the person that had the seat ended up being a mayor of Dallas. So she was appointed to that seat. And so she had to beat her, even though she was already in Austin in that seat. So that's even a harder thing to do. Okay. So now she had to go. All right. So what I'm saying is that if you find somebody like that, we need to get behind those people.
That's right.
What I say is so important. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. Put money behind these people, because, I'm not a rich person, but let me tell you something. Me doing that for her, let me know that if we don't see change, we're going to have to start putting our dollars, to back
That's
it up.
right.
We really,
That's
and
right.
I'm serious about that. Like, I'm for real. If you're not putting money, even if it's $25, $50, put something on these people's campaign. Do you know how much difference that makes to get a Black dollar with a Black face? You're going to have relationships with those people the whole time they in office. That's somebody you can call. You can call them. Hey, I'm having this issue. Hey, I'm having this problem. Hey, can you help me do this? I'm telling you, they're going to remember you.
That's
Judges, House of Rep, your House rep, your Senate rep, all those people. We need to really be serious about putting candidates in office that are for us. I'm telling you, that's the most important thing I gained from her campaign.
Amen. Yes.
I'm glad you made that statement because that's one of the statements I make to people in regards to our local politicians. Sometimes they don't even get the support. We put them in office and they want to make change. We don't even come out to the meetings, let alone put money on the campaigns. Then you got the opposition putting money on their campaign, and therefore they don't have no choice but to go back with the opposition's ask them to do because they're funding the campaign. So that's another lesson I think that we need to educate the people on. We got to come out to these town hall meetings and we got to support these candidates. And once again, hold them accountable. Don't hold them accountable after the fact. That goes back to we're so reactive. We want to complain and bitch about everything else. But what happened before these bills got passed? Was we trying to stop these bills before they went through? So that's a great point. Great point.
Yes, absolutely.
We're about out of time. Monica, I know you got some announcements. What announcements you got before we close out?
Before we close out, please make sure that you go to Carmen Turner's website and Lynn Clouser's. Carmen Turner is carmenturner.com. She asks that you would please check out her website for more information about her as well as her social media. And that's Carmen Turner, Carmen with a C. And LynnClouser.com. Lynn is running for Missouri City Council at-large position number 2. She asks that you would also please go to her website if you have any specific questions that may be identified on her website as well as on her social media, Lynn Clouser, and that's Clouser, Clouser. As a mom, she had to jump off and take care of her kids, but we do appreciate both candidates engaging with the voters tonight and listeners and everybody that joined in. Guys, we've got 2 more days right here in Fort Bend County and in Harris County that you can go to the polls and vote. Polls in Fort Bend County will be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on tomorrow, which is Thursday, October the 29th, and Friday, October 30th. Election day is Tuesday, November the 3rd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Guys, don't wait till election day. The lines are going to be extremely long. I guarantee you, no matter where you go in Fort Bend County, no matter where you go in Harris County, you are in for the wait of your life. And we don't know what the weather is going to be like. And you don't want to be out there in the cold, rain, and wind. So please take advantage of these extended hours here in Fort Bend County, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Thank you so much for William Ferguson jumping on tonight. He's also a candidate for Sugar Land, Texas, running for city council. He's one of those good people that we talked about tonight, Dr. Prevost, who's doing amazing things in the community. And we need to get behind him and support those efforts. I'm Mountain Movie Monica. I thank you guys. Leotis, I'll never call you Leotis, but Ray, Sean, I love you guys. I thank y'all so much. It has been a wonderful journey over this intense election season. And Dr. Prevost, I love hearing from you. Be asking them hard questions. I'll be like, oh, I'm glad I ain't I'll be over here like, oh, thank you. You put them in the hot seat. I be feeling a little tingle when I be in my seat. You ask questions,
At least I give them a warning, okay?
Oh yeah, but I think it's important. They've got to stand by what's on their material that's out there. I think it's wonderful. You ask great questions and you do your research. I think it's just important. We need to start educating people. If we can do maybe a social media push or a global push when this election is over, that people need to start researching what Republicans and Democratic platforms actually stand for. I'm going to post on my page tomorrow a link that you can go and take a test, and it'll tell you which party you actually identify with. Or if you even identify with the party, and it will tell you where you stand in your position and your platform. So look for that on my page, Monica Riley on Facebook. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful journey. I look forward to coming back on the 3rd Wednesday of next month when everything is died down.
Died down.
Yeah. Well, people gonna be crying. November 3rd is November 3rd gonna be hot. It's gonna be a lot of people with some tissue paper and crying in their closet. Some people gonna just be hiding out, So, but definitely it's been a pleasure. Always, I'm just thankful that you all are safe, healthy, and well. And may, the families in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma overall get their power restored ASAP. And I bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Dr. Prevost.
Nothing. I mean, I'm just interested. I'm actually going to be a poll clerk on Tuesday. So
Okay.
pray for me. No.
No, we will. Don't worry, we will.
Pray for you and cover you.
Right. So they've been begging. I'm telling you, here is a very serious situation. I actually was supposed to be a judge, but they begged me to go ahead and take this poll clerk position because they don't have anybody. Like I said, the Republicans are not showing up. They're already canceling their appointment. So I'm going ahead and do my civic duty, I guess, and be all day Tuesday. So, people are going to be clowning. So pray for me.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Amen. Hey, what time are y'all's polls open on Tuesday, Dr. Prevost?
7.
Okay, 7 to 7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just kind of curious to know if anybody was having extended hours on election day by chance.
No, we don't.
And I want to thank you once again, Dr. Prevost, for constantly supporting me and the Real Men Talk Show. Every
Yes.
time I call you, always step up to the challenge. And thank you for the questions you ask. You do ask the questions that, once again, viewers want to know. And I greatly
Hot
Thank you.
question.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been fun.
thank you. And Monica, once again, thank you so much for helping us with Politic Wednesday. We couldn't have did it without you. So thank you for bringing the guest on. And before I close it out, my brother Sean, who's been rocking with me, we've been doing this for about 16 months now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Only getting better.
I want to thank you for your support because we do this every Wednesday, and sometimes it's somewhat draining, but he still comes out to support. And once again, as Monica was saying, and Dr. Prevost, when you're doing things from your heart, it's completely different. We don't get paid for this. We don't get no accolades. And doing this for the month of October, we want to educate and aware the voters. That's all it was. So once again, we don't get nothing out of this. I get joy out of this, just knowing that people are more educated, more aware, and doing what they can for their community versus just going to the polls, voting just to be voting. I want you to be more aware and find the right people so we can make change. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Sean. You have any words, man?
Couple of quick things. Thank both you, Monica and Dr. Prevost. Love you guys. Always a pleasure to have you on. We will continue to have you on. Other thing I wanted to say, black men, quit being lackadaisical. Get you a will together, get you a trust together, get life insurance to make sure your family is well secured if you do not make it to the end with them. This is something we have to quit playing with. Leave a financial legacy for your child other than a car. Other thing I got to say is, black men, let's start being gentlemen to each other, because the greatest thing we can do is quit looking down on each other and start looking up to help each other up. That's it.
Wow.
All right. Amen. Good.
I always have the most powerful things to say. I'm so glad he goes last. I couldn't follow that.
Right. I'm like, okay.
Maybe want to be a black man just, for a second there. Like,
And that's why he's part of the Real Men Talk. And the Real Men Talk actually going to be providing more services come next year. Brother Sean and I, we go take a break. We probably going to do one more episode this year, and we go take a break. But you're going to have more services coming your way. If you notice, we had our international therapist. Matter of fact, he's been taking a break because he's been helping so many people. But we want to help people with, like Sean said, with mental health, the wills, power of attorneys, leaving a legacy. And this is what the Real Men Talk is about. We want to help brothers come together and just do more. And we realize a lot of people is hurting and a lot of people are unaware and just looking for something. So the Real Men Talk want to try to provide that come 2021. And that's the premise of the show. But because of that, the show has opened up doors to talk about politics and other things, everything else. So thank you all. Keep supporting. Go to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And if you want to donate to us. We greatly appreciate it. But till then, hey, thank you all so much for your support. And if you ain't vote, get out there and vote and make a difference in the community. Y'all have a good night.
That's right. Everybody have a good evening.
Bye. Y'all too.
bye. Thank y'all.
All right.
Another excellent
Thank
show, sir.
you. Bye.
Thank you all.